are you today? We're waiting for a few more people to arrive. There's quite a bit of you that had registered, so we want to make sure that you're all in before we get started. For all of you that have signed up, this is the signal-based outreach webinar, and we're going to go through some of the more modern things currently happening in the world of outreach. We'll give a couple more minutes until everyone gets in. Almost there. I hope everyone's having a great week and a wonderful Thanksgiving for those of you who celebrated it. All right, we have a ton of content here today, so I'm gonna be going through all of these relatively quickly. So why don't we get started? But before we get started, let's ask a quick poll. You're going to be getting a series of 3 different questions. One, please let us know where you're joining us here today in this lovely morning. Second question is, what is your biggest challenge in scaling your outreach or marketing efforts? Is it one, generating qualified leads, scaling outreach, leveraging AI tools, or improving overall performance? The third is, what is your primary goal for improving your outreach strategy? And this is a multi-choice, so feel free to select multiple of these as they're there. So thanks for completing that, and let's go to the next slide. Hi, I'm Hamlet Azarian. I am the CEO of Azarian Growth Agency. I've been a lifetime learner. So a little bit about us is we are working on building this community and ecosystem. So for one, we have our 8 Growth Ventures podcast, we interview different influencers, VCs, and founders, and we share their journey and their lessons learned. We have our A Growth Academy, which is our cohort-based curriculum that we offer graduate students the opportunity to join and learn all of the different growth marketing processes that we have implemented in our agency, as well as startups to apply and be part of it. This is completely merit-based and 100% free. We cover both the scholarships for both the startups as well as the students. And then we have the A Growth Lab webinar, which is what you've joined, which is our monthly webinars that we showcase. We've done about 10 of these now, well over, I lost track at this point, thousands of people have registered and viewed them. These are our inside tips and secrets of how we do everything at the agency. We don't believe marketing should be a black box. We're here openly sharing all of the things that we're doing that are working effectively across our agency. And of course, we have our agency as well. This is where we partner with different venture-backed startups as well as high growth companies that are doing over 3 million or so in revenue if they're a high growth organization, or if they are a venture-backed startup and raised roughly around $800 to $1 million or more. We come in and we build dedicated growth teams supporting them to execute their go-to-market strategies, both in the B2C and B2B space. So a few of our webinars, as you can see, this one is the AI Growth Signals one. Recently, we did a state of AI for both San Francisco and LA Tech Week, where we went through all the latest tools in AI. Most of ours have an AI angle to it. We are an AI first agency, and we've been using AI for the last 4 years or so. So everything we've been doing, from workflows to processes, are built on the foundation of AI. And as I say, AI is a co-pilot helping you execute more and be able to do more. In today's webinar, we're going to be going through different challenges that with traditional cold outreach. So we're going to talk about what is signal-based outreach and why it's now actually feasible and doable. And then we're going to get into some of the tools that we are using as part of the tech stack to be able to execute this for our clients and for ourselves. And we're going to talk about an integrated strategy. We're going to show you examples of how to particularly do this so you can understand the beautiful science and the art of signal-based outreach. And then finally, at the end, we're going to open it up for Q&A. Throughout this webinar, if there's a question that comes up, we do have team members here, so feel free to bring it up in the chat or on the board as you see fit. I won't be able to stop. There is a ton of content to be able to go through it, but I don't want you to forget your question. Really, at the end of the day, I'm here to help you guys and guide you around this topic. So whenever you have a question, just feel free to put it there. If the team doesn't answer it, for sure, I will answer it then. Okay, so let's get started. So the problem with traditional cold outreach is that it generates low conversion rates. You know, the vast majority of messages are ignored. Only 8.5% of outreach emails even receive a reply, and usually that reply might be negative. Part of it is because the way traditional cold outreach has been done is it's all about scale and mass, and it lacks personalization. So you're sending, and a wide net, and you're hoping to get some responses of it. That usually results into it being very inefficient. You're burning leads, you're frustrating people. You might even be burning your own domain, and you're rotating through domains. All of this is very costly on both human capital time as well as your ability to execute and deliver results. So you end up getting low conversion rate. This continued lack of personalization is one of the biggest problems, because it's really, really hard to personalize at scale, or it used to be. And today we're going to show you how it can be done. And some of the tools in the past that were used to be able to do this were Apollo and SendGrid or Get Prospect or even BusStream. So these were the old tech stack. These are stacks that we used to use in our own internal agency, and we struggled with this. But as of now, and when I say as of now, I'm talking about in the last, 6 months to a year, a new tools have started emerging that allow personalization at scale, and more importantly, signals. And that is what we're going to discuss today. And I'll go through each one of these tools a little bit later and showcase why they enable this and why we recommend these as the best of class. So there's Clay, Smartlead, and LaGrowth Machine. So what is signal-based outreach, you might be asking? So what it really is it's a data-driven approach that utilizes real-time intent signals for high-intent leads. And I'm going to get into all of this in a bit later, and I'm going to show you 7 different intent signals that we have come across. And there's more, by the way, but today I'm going to highlight 7 of them. What are signals? Signals are behavior that showcases that your ICP, or your ideal customer profile, is ready or is currently facing a problem, and they need a solution. At the end of the day, we're all in here to try to help other people solve problems with our solutions, and this surfaces that up. So they might be actively looking for it, or they might be engaging in something that showcases it. And last from that, this is no longer the pray and let me send thousands of emails a day and I hope 5 or 10 of them reply. This is much more focused. It's all about sending 100 or 150 emails to people who are actively looking for a solution, and making each one of those emails super hyper personalized on specifically speaking to their pain point and problem. So how does this overall work? Why does it work? Because it's super relevant, right? You are sending a message at the right moment based on intent signals. It's highly efficient. You're no longer burning domains, including the tools of today allow you to send in a way that ensures email deliverability into the inbox. So your email is not showing up in promotions, it's not showing up in updates, it's not showing up in spam. It's actually going to show up in the inbox, and it's hyper personalized. So the message is speaking directly to the audience, talking about what they did, their behavior. So it's connecting the dots, and it's making it seamless and easy for them to want to reply, because you're going to stand out in the crowd of cold emails that they're receiving. So one thing, there's a perception on the funnel that we want to really talk about, right? So most people think the funnel is sort of on the left, where there's a bunch of leads that you have that you're actively trying to go through and sell to, and out of that you're constantly nurturing them, and from that portion you get a sales. The real funnel in B2B is a little bit different, right? So what it really is the whole pocket is your audience. This might be all of your MQLs, but out of your MQLs, 95% of them might not be in market. And what you should be doing with them is you should be educating. You should not be trying to sell to them. The 5% that are in market are the ones that you want to be a little bit more aggressive with, and to actually do the outreach to begin the process of selling to. So this is your active buyers. And every industry is slightly different, but this is something to pay attention to. And the reason we're bringing this up is now you're able to do that and by looking at different signals that would highlight them. And here are 7 different signals that we've come across. One is company specific signals, right? So there might be funding announcements, or there might be new change in leadership from CEOs, CMOs, VPs, directors. Any leadership change that usually comes around might be an opportunity, or there might be product launches, a new game coming out, or a new loan product coming to the market, or a new insurance offering coming into the market. There might be job postings, actively hiring for leadership roles or specific roles, or actively hiring for developers. Or there might be press coverage, both bad and both positive press coverage or negative press coverage that might be arising. So these are company specific ones. Another area might be intent signals. So this would be website visitor activity. So people visiting your pricing page, people visiting your case studies page, people visiting your testimonials pages, people you visiting your blogs that might have a specific lead magnet attached to it. There might be actual activity done. So them downloading ebooks, white papers, and templates. There might be people coming to events that you're hosting, similar to this, like a webinar where they're coming to learn. So that shows interest into the topic that you're speaking about. Or there might be email engagement. So actually opening your emails and clicking on them and replying them, or there might be social media interaction. So this would be interacting on likes, shares, and comments, both on your own social, your personal, your company, but also on influencers or even potentially on your competitors. The other might be market specific ones. So what I mean by that, there might be new rules or laws coming, especially with 2025. This will be applicable, right? But any change in laws or change in policies might be occurring that this might be causing a new problem within your industry. There might be new industry trends. AI has been disrupting numerous industries, and data privacy has also been a concern for several years. And all of these are hot topics. And so these are great opportunities for you to be able to do outreach. There might be economic shifts. So there might be either growth of the business, and when organizations are going through hyper growth with new capital or with new M&A activity, or they're just huge changes, increase in ad spend, and so on and so forth. Or there might be contractions where they're going through the opposite cycle. So they might be running out of capital, and they might be needing to be doing a downsizing, and they need help, and there's definite problems there, and your solutions can help them and alleviate some of the issues that they're going through. There might be personnel signals, right? So role changes, promotions are one common one, or there might be new hirings and new roles, and so on and so forth. So these are the 4 other ones. There's 3 others here. There's competitive signals. So looking at what your competition is doing, what they're launching, technology signals, what tools people are using, and then crisis or pain points. Okay. So let me go through an example one. So company specific one. So here you can use LinkedIn Sales Navigator to gather signals on leadership team and key hires falling for the funding rounds, or even activity on your own company pages or your own personal profile pages. You could also use TechCrunch to see any of these announcements, right? And then based off of that, you can build an outreach to these organizations. Another one could be intent signals. So here it could be actual activity on your website. So downloading information, downloading white papers, or it could be inactivity. So what I mean by that, with some of the latest tools like RB2B or Sales Intel, you could actually see through IP identification tools who's visiting your site. So you're able to see, they visited your pricing page and they didn't do anything necessarily, or they visited your webinar page, but they didn't register, or they visited your case study page and they actually, so these different components of it will allow you to be able to do outreach to them. And there is market specific signals. So this would be adapting to industry trends, right? So industry reports, as we talked about, and the way you can do this is through RSS feeds, right? So if you could find different industries that you are actively, your specific industry that you can look at the publishers within those industries and see what they're releasing, and you can be listening to their RSS feed. Another way of doing this is through Google Alerts. So through Google Alerts, you could set up different keywords or different sites that you're monitoring. And as they're publishing articles, you can utilize and parse that and see if there's something relevant in there to be able to use potentially as a signal to do outreach as well too. And then the other could be monitoring social posts, right? So here you could be monitoring, again, the publishers who are actively posting both on X and LinkedIn. You could be monitoring the influencers that are posting and what are they posting about your competitors and so on and so forth. As we were talking about monitoring and LinkedIn activity, so these are personal signals, right? So from monitoring the personal influencers, the thought leaders, these are all these tools have started emerging in the last year or so that allow you to get really smart and specific on your different outreach campaigns. Lastly, there's competitive signals. So looking at the case studies and press releases and the social media posts, as we've been talking about, of your competitors, and potentially your client, what are they doing and where the gaps are? That's one opportunity, and potentially of your customers. So what are your customers' competitors doing, right? And being able to showcase what they're doing well and is working could be a potential way of you to reach out to them and say, hey, this is what they're doing well. They just released this. I wanted you just to be aware of it. Do you have something similar? It's kind of just a very basic approach of you kind of catching people's attention, showing that you're actively monitoring their industry and their market, and you're genuinely here to help them. And the last is technology signals, right? So whenever there's a new tools adoption, or they might have an old tool that is, going to be being sunset, or they haven't upgraded their tech stack yet. All of these different things can be great entryways and doors for you to be able to have a conversation. So they might be using sort of a legacy tool that really doesn't have some of the modern features that your SaaS offering has, that it might be a great opportunity to be able to reach out to them and connect with them and showcase why you are able to solve this problem. And unfortunately, that tool is not ever going to be able to, and having conversations around that. And crisis or pain points, right? So whenever you see any type of revenue decrease happening within an organization, or they've been struggling year over year, this is for larger enterprise businesses that have public available data. This could be a great opportunity. But besides public available data, you can also look at other tools. So you can be looking at their organic traffic dropping, or you can be looking at their overall ad spend going up or down, or you can be looking at the jobs contraction happening by department through LinkedIn. You can see how many people have recently left per role, per company, per headcount, per department, and be able to have conversations around some of these. It could be negative signs. And then the opposite holds true as well, right? How many job postings or how many recent hirings is showing growth in activity? And the type of job postings, what are the roles and what are the positions that they're hiring for, could be giving signals what on some of their strategies and initiatives for the organization. So how do you go about doing this, and why does this work, right? At the core of this, it's not just gathering the data, which I just showed you a bunch of signals, and there's more. There is a bunch more, but we don't have time for all of them. But it's really about how do you create personal email creation framework, right? So what we really mean by this is your emails have to be super personalized, and they have to be right at the user's engagement through those signals. And the combination of those two things generally results into high reply rates. We all know this. Every one of us who's been doing sales for years knows that a really friendly approach that really talks to the customer's pain point and talks in a very personalized manner is the best approach for you to be able to get a hold of them. And unfortunately, we just all can't monitor our pipeline the way we like to, but now we can. So how do we go about writing specific cold emails that don't feel like an overly sales email to them, right? So it's really about the subject line that has to be super personalized. It has to be about the opening line to catch their attention. You got to really address the problem that you've identified through their behavior and through their signals. You have to offer immediate value, and you're not trying to sell them. You're just giving them, hey, this is how I can help. Does this resonate with you? You have to make it really easy for them to say yes. So you're not trying to sell again. You're just starting the conversation here. And then you need to reinforce through a PS at the end and showcase how you can overall do this. This simple framework and I'll get into a little bit about this in a little bit, right? So I'm going to go through 4 different ones really quickly for different industries for you guys to show the bad and the good to try to explain it to you. So here's one for our leadership change. It's a director of marketing role being hired at a bank. So in this particular email, it's super, it doesn't have any examples. You're not really showcasing why you're the best at it. You don't have any specific insights. It's a really broad, bold claim, and it's generic and it has no message. This is some of the bad emails that we have sent in the past, thinking we're being personalized, right? We're just saying the first name and the company name and so on and so forth. And we know the role. So, but this really is not personalized. In today's world, you can start doing things like this, right? You can really find the person or the person who made that hiring role decision and hire that person. So whatever one of the two of those are, right? Congratulating their new team member or congratulating the person who's actually joined that specific role. You can really write it simple and easy to read contacts that they can glance in a couple seconds. You can give them a playbook because they're at the process of trying to implement one, but you can give them a suggestion. Here's a playbook that we've done. We've seen that it seems to work. Would you like a copy? They're in the early stages, right? They're learning about their organization. They're trying to formulate what their go-to-market plan would be or what their plan might be as a whole. And you're making it really easy for them to say yes. And then you can also end it with credibility in the PS line saying, hey, we've done this for other companies. If you like to see examples, let me know. And I'll also share as well too. So the difference of the two, very generic, much more specific, and much more value add. Now here's another one. This is around website activity. So either them coming, so this is for digital marketing agencies, shameless plug here. This is one of the ones we have for ourselves, but we wanted to kind of show you this, right? So if you went and you were going to be downloading anything on our side and so on and so forth, you would at this stage get a very generic one. But if you change that paradigm and you gave a much more personalized one, this you can start talking about the next step in the relationship, right? So you can say, hey, thanks for downloading this AI tool guide. We have a webinar coming up. Would you like to join and sign up and kind of check it out? Or even on other ways of doing this is we can do the same thing on people visiting our case studies pages, or we can do the same thing on people visiting our testimonial pages and they haven't filled anything out. We can say, hey, we noticed that you visit our recent webinar pages and you were interested in learning more about AI tools, or you were more interested in learning about SEO. We have one coming up that's one of our newer webinars. Feel free to join us as well. So these kind of behavioral based doesn't necessarily have to be that they're actually downloading information anymore. The fact that they're just visiting and you can now identify them and be able to do outreach to them. The next is industry tool. So this is for an insurance agency, right? So here's a generic one. It lacks, clear call to action. It lacks credibility. It feels a little bit overly salesy in this particular example. And then what you are able to do now in today's version is you can get really specific, right? So last year in 2024, unfortunately, we had a couple major events like Hurricane Beryl and New Mexico wildfires. And you can turn around and you can write much more specific, showing your expertise to be able to connect with them and really use this opportunity to show this major event and how you are a solution. So if this does not occur to their home or does not cause problems for them in the future. On this one, it's really about active hiring trends. Again, it's for another digital marketing agency. This is something that we potentially were using in the past, right? So in the newer version, you're really getting into specific about highlighting successes, what you do really well, giving specific tangible results, and really making it a very simple, low risk offer for people to be able to engage with you. So we're going to take another quick poll. So poll should be coming up any second. What tools or methods do you currently use for cold outreach? Again, this is multi-choice, so feel free to select and multiple if you're using multiple of these. If you're not, it's okay as well too. So take a second for you guys to complete that while I grab a little bit of water and check out the time. Thank you. All right, let's go to the next slide. So we're going to start breaking down some tools for you, and I'm going to be going through a bunch of these relatively quickly and show you what the use cases are for them. So now you're able to go through, these are all the different use cases. From finding data, you're able to use obviously Clay, Crunchbase, and LinkedIn Sales Navigator. From enrichment, there's tools like Clay, La Growth Machine, Better Contact, and there's another tool called Full Enrich as well that allows you to quickly gather email and other data points. For lookalikes, you can use Ocean IO. For deliverability, we recommend Smartlead. Obviously, SendGrid is great for mass bulk send, but Smartlead is terrific for individual. So for triggers, there's Clay, Triggerfy. For copywriting, OpenAI is tapping into their APIs obviously is the go-to, but there's also Jasper, there's also Claude. So Coolbit also helps for those other people trying to utilize it. Cold email outreach, Smartlead, as we mentioned, is our go-to, but there's SendGrids and Sales Shady. And then for warm up, there's different ones as well. Instantly is a great one. Video creation and personalization. We really like HeyGen. LinkedIn outreach. We love La Growth Machine. There's also Dripify and HeyReach. So, between these three, we really like La Growth Machine. For meeting, we all, have come to use Calendly, but there's others. There's open source one like Cal. There's Google Meet, Zoom, Firefly, for recording CRMs. These are the three. We kind of like Zoho, by the way. I know we all use HubSpot and Salesforce. We've started liking Zoho for the customization components of how it allows you to be able to do a lot of things and not to get trapped into their ecosystem. For automation and AI agents, there's Zapier, Relevance, and Make as well too. And there's N8N, which we don't have a room to leave in here as well too. All right, so we're gonna spend some time and go through the three next tools that it's kind of become the tech stack or the go-to tech stack to be able to do some of the signal-based outreach campaigns. So Clay recently got a Series B funding, roughly around $62 million and more. The funding was in June of this year, and they're quickly growing. They are, think of them as Airtable on steroids is kind of the best way to think about it. They allow you to really do a bunch of different things, from automated lead enrichment to, for signal tracking. You can start tracking job changes and so on and so forth. You can tap into the OpenAI APIs, and you can start really using the data to start crafting messages or even intelligence and so on and so forth. You can even do lead scoring and prioritization, all built in within the tool with some minor customization. It's really accurate, the data itself. It really allows you for personalization at scale, and it kind of goes through automation and super user friendly. Some of the use cases and categories are everything from RevOps, so from lead scoring to data enrichment, CRM syncing, and pipeline streaming, to market research, sales enablement. You can actually do SEO at scale, from gathering data and creating content and automatically integrating if you choose to. You can even do for marketing. There's lead qualification, contact enrichment, personalization at scale, and then marketing automation, right? So here's like one use case you could potentially be doing is with the latest tools is you can join a Slack group, some of the community Slack groups, or even a Discord. You can use a tool like Phantom Buster to scrape all the Slack channel users, or even the post itself, a highly engaged post. You can import those leads directly into a Clay table. Then you can use a reverse search profile and find who they are using Serper's API, and then load that data back into Clay. Then you can use either a Clay agent, or you can start using the OpenAI agent to start gathering additional information about the person and the organization and the company. You can then enrich the data and then using out campaigns. So this is one example use case, but there's others, right? So there's different use cases, and we'll get into more of these in a little bit. So you can easily import data into Clay in many which ways, shapes, and form, directly from your CRM or your HubSpot, or from a CSV, from Ocean 10, right? If you want to build lookalikes, from local businesses, so you can start scraping Google Maps businesses and gathering data that way, from Google Search. You can also get it from your company website as a whole, and you can get it from GitHub. So different people who are stargazers on GitHub, you can pull in data from Phantom Buster, RSS feed. or you can use actors from Appify as you build out your own agents to be able to gather information and pull info in. So what is really, some of the enrichments that Clay can do, from new hires to leadership changes to CEO appearances on podcasts or speaking engagements and so on and so forth, from company news, funding rounds, product launches and expansions. How all this kind of works is, here's a quick example that we've done to showcase this. Is you tap into your OpenAI API. Once you've created the project, you create a prompt, you provide some context for that prompt, right? So this is the system prompt, this is the general prompt. These different blue marks here are columns in your play table that it's gathering the information from. And then you could only say, hey, run, and you can set a run if rule. So it doesn't automatically just eat up a bunch of credits. You can say, hey, only run if there's a valid work email or whatever trigger you want, then it will actually start using this prompt and start creating generalized personal email based off of the factors that you've been able to provide it, right? Then in addition to that, you can do lead scoring. So here's an example of ours where we kind of read the LinkedIn summary profile of what the organization is, and we are able to categorize and say, is this potential organization a client, an employee, a referral partner, a venture capital partner, a private equity partner, a startup client, or an enterprise client? And we're able to say that not only what it is, but we're able to get the data back in a JSON so we can additionally use it for other tools. We have a scoring mechanism of 0 to 100, how accurate it is and why it thinks it's that, and also a definition based off of that. The next tool we can get into is Smartlead. So what Smartlead really does is it allows you to quickly be able to send email into a cold outreach email, but have it delivered into the inbox. Why does it also has a unified management, so you can start setting up multiple inboxes, so you can quickly be rotating through the email as well. It also has a feature of subsequences, which allows you to do automatic follow-ups if you chose to, based off of it. It could also look at the replies and start categorizing them for you. And it's also smart enough to look at out of office and be able to then follow up if someone is out of office based off of what was written in the email itself. And lastly, the key feature of Smartlead is that with most email systems of the old, what they would do is they would send all email at the same time. And because of that, the emails over the ESPs got smarter, and that became a spam trigger or promotions trigger, an update trigger, and they would start now putting your email automatically and categorizing it and not necessarily delivering it into the inbox. What Smartly does is it holds tight your emails, and it slowly drips them in based off of the cadence you suggest. And because you're able to add an unlimited amount of emails, you can add one from Google Workspace, one from Outlook, one from, all the different types of emails. And that's another thing that we've noticed is Google Workspace emails do a better job of getting into Google emails. Outlook emails do a better job of getting into Outlook emails, and so on and so forth. And with this, you're then able to drip slowly the emails in, which ensures deliverability into the inbox. So this is kind of what I mean by that is you could set up, in this example, you're seeing 9 different emails, 10 different emails that we have, and it will automatically rotate through each one of these. While others, it would have been much more difficult to do this and be able to have all of those emails managed through one massive inbox. So how does this all work together, right? So you start using Clay to be able to gather the email information. You can then waterfall within Clay. You can go through Hunter and all the different platforms that exist. You can find the valid emails, and then from automatically, once you have the other data column, send it into Smartlead, and the Smartlead will then be the sending arm for you to be able to send the information. Within Smartlead, you could also start building different sequences based off of interaction or what occurs within the email sends themselves. So the next tool we want to talk about is Le Growth Machine. So what Le Growth Machine allows you to do is multi-channel. And so we've been talking about email with Smartlead, but Le Growth is great for if you want to connect on X, if you want to connect on LinkedIn, and you want to be able to send voice messages on LinkedIn, and you want to also be able to, send something, follow them on X, follow a post, go on LinkedIn, connect with them, follow a post, and then sequence all of these out so it doesn't feel it's happening all at the same time, and then send potentially an email. And then if they reply or interact from your email or any of your X interactions, there will be one centralized place where you can go and you can see this. Then you can rate them, you can qualify them, and you can actually do the follow-ups in that particular inbox. So it's really easy for you to manage it and stay organized. So it's super efficient. It allows you to be scalable. It allows for mass lead management. And because of all of these different things, we've noticed higher reply rates as well too. So I'll skip that part since I went through all of it and being cognizant of time. So how you can import data into a growth machine is it has its own finder. You can use LinkedIn Sales Navigator. You can use your CRM directly into it. You can import from CSVs. And then in addition to that, you can push, as I showed through API, through Clay into the platform. This is what I mean by the workflows, as I was mentioning earlier. You can create different types of workflows with different steps. So you can see the different path based off of behavior. And then in addition to that, it also allows for automatic enriching. So what this means is that it will go and it will, once the user has connected with you on LinkedIn, it will go and scrape all of the information that the user has for you, from the job title, from their profiles, their handles, and so on and so forth. And it will save it into its CRM. So then now it can start utilizing it for its different workflows and sequences. And in addition to that, this is the built-in CRM. As you can see, you can start monitoring and organizing exactly what's occurring on the reply rate. So you stay organized and you can quickly follow the sequence of information that's been sent. So you're no longer having to go into multiple systems and paying attention to what's occurring. So what we recommend is and then you can also then send data out, right? So in today's world, it's really important that you don't have data living in one platform. It becomes really hard for everybody. So through webhooks, you're able to send data if you want to Clay, to HubSpot, or to your other CRMs of choice as well too. So how do all of these tools work together? This slide kind of quickly shows you can start using Clay. You can send data from Clay to Smartlead. You can then start doing omni-channel workflows with La Growth Machine. You can you can then send the replies, or if they're qualified, into your CRM, into Salesforce, HubSpot, or Zoho. You can schedule calls using Calendly using it with Zoom. You can record the calls automatically with Fireflies. And then with the recording, then you can automatically create sequences or personalized follow-up messages if you choose to, and you can move the conversation along. Now they're actually in the process of becoming from an MQL to an SQL. Then you can start taking it over and really start getting into the sales process. So another poll really quickly. What is your biggest priority for improving your cold outreach in the next 3 months? This is a multiple choice again. If you guys could answer this really quickly. Great. So CRM integrations and automations, right? So why is it important? You need your data in a centralized place so you can start keeping track of your pipeline. We all know this. But one of the challenges we have is lead scoring and making sure we're paying attention to the right one. So these new data enrichment tools not only allow you to quickly gather more intelligence. So what for you an SDR would do in the past, you're now able to automate a lot of that, and you're able to push new data insights into your CRM. But you're also able to push all of these other signals in there as well and really take your lead scoring to a new level. It also allows for unified communication. So you don't have to feel overwhelmed. Which platform do I need to log into? Where do I need to go pay attention to my messages? Do I log into LinkedIn now? Do I log into X? No, some of the tools now have streamlined this pain point. So it's really easy for you to just go to one place, pay attention, and one place to kind of go and look at what you should be doing, where it goes away from the tools itself to now more into you taking over and kind of managing the pipeline itself. So benefits of connecting all of these, right? So improved lead tracking, data-driven decisions now, much more simpler, simplified streaming workflows. So how do you do all of this? You begin by the simple process of sending the emails out or the LinkedIn follow-ups. Once people start replying to you, you start creating automated tasks or follow-up tasks, and you start taking it over. We're not at the place where it's an AI agent that's going to take it all the way from beginning to end, but we are at the place where the hard work, right? The manual work that used to be done in the past can definitely be streamlined and automated. The boring work, so where it's a very cold connection, can be definitely streamlined to more of a warm, and then from warm you can definitely take it over and making them a friend. So how do you combine all of these tools with the CRM integrations, right? So it's pretty easy. So this doesn't involve developers. You can easily do this on your own. You can use Zapier for no code platform, and you can use webhooks to be able to communicate the information between the products themselves. So this shouldn't feel like, oh my God, this is going to be so much work. It really isn't. It's the connection part is not the hard part. It's more the identification of the signals and the optimization and the messaging. That's really the hard part. So what does all of this mean? Like we're kind of getting into it, right? It's really all about how do you measure if this is working? It's the same things that you're used to looking at. It's the open rates. Is it showing up in the inbox? In the past, we were used to 15, 20, 25% open rates. Now you're able to get 60, 65, 70, 75% open rates because you're getting delivered directly into the inbox. You're no longer going to updates and spam. The response rates by far are improving with personalization, right? You're no longer sending thousands of emails because you're much more focused in sending hundreds of emails. Generally, you're going to get a higher reply rates and higher response rates. Your lead scoring is giving you much better insights and clarity because now you're pulling in other data that you're looking at, and you're able to see the full omni-channel experience that you're having with the lead from all the way from the activities on social to their website visits to how they're interacting from your cold email from early on, all the different elements. Your pipeline is having a huge impact, right? So you're not missing things. So you're no longer, or you're not missing the data, you're not missing the interaction. You're able to see that, you're able to follow up. That things are not falling through the cracks. You're able to move faster and quicker and focused on the right things that could potentially turn into a close. And because of all of that, your conversion rates are going up. You're able to take from proposal to closes in a much faster manner. You're able to really start scaling the business and really try to make things much more efficient for you. So what are some common challenges and how to overcome them, right? So how do you optimize signal noise? How do you go through, how do you do personalization at scale? So signal noise, I think we talked about really here. And how do you ensure that you're compliant? So let me kind of get into all of that. So obviously with signal noise, Clay allows for this. So through the utilization of Clay, you're able to, and OpenAI, you're able to quickly kind of get into the data, implement criteria, and you're able to find the right signals that necessarily matter to you. And through an iterative cycle, you're able to see which campaigns definitely work, and then you're able to scale those campaigns relatively quickly because now you've kind of figured out the messaging component. And then in addition to that, you figured out the signal component, and then you can start really quickly starting to grow from that. With personalization at scale, again, you're able to use the growth machine, you're able to use Clay, and you're able to craft personalized messages that can be used by both Smartlead as well as the growth machine. And then compliance, you do stay GDR and CAN spam compliant, and you're able to make sure that you don't do things that go outside of that. And how do you do that? You do have opt-in mechanisms. You do respect the unsubscribe messaging. If someone says, "Hey, stop messaging me," it automatically removes them from all of the different accounts that you have with using AI and being able to read through the messaging components themselves as well. So future trends, where do we see all of this going? I mean, I'm going to really break it down to three different area, right? So AI agents are of now. So this is definitely starting to happen today. What is this allowing you to do? Is it's allowing you to scale your team's abilities. What I showed today is a variation of AI agents. It's not fully encompassing. It's sort of like a co-pilot with you utilizing it and watching it and monitoring it, or having an expert alongside of you ensuring that it's occurring. But in the very near future, it's already starting to happen. There could be fully AI agents that are doing a lot of this work, and you're kind of going through it. Do I trust the AI agents to be able to execute this well? Not just yet. It's not there fully. I think it still needs a lot of hand holding and user oversight. As you start figuring and crafting what is going to work, then at that point, then you can start crafting the agents to take over. The other is predictive analytics. It's superhuman lead scoring, right? Like at this point, you can really get into all the information. You can really start monitoring what's going to work for you. And then omni-channel is now really allowing you, just like any relationship, to go from cold to warm to friend. And that's really the goal, is how do you go from, being a completely cold interaction to really building a warm relationship where they recognize your name, they want to contact you because they know you can solve a solution for them that they have a problem to, and how to eventually they become a friend where the relationship is there and it's intact, and you can have hard conversation when things are not working and what needs to be optimized. And all of this really is allowing you to do this at scale, which you weren't able to do before. So how can we help? So these are some different things, right? We've been doing this for a while. As I mentioned, we've been with AI for 4 years. We've been always on the cutting edge of what's about to come out, and we've been first in playing with the tools and getting it to a point and presenting it. So we have a consistent knowledge over here gained. We know how to customize outreach strategies. We've seen what works and what doesn't. It doesn't necessarily mean what worked for some other client might work for another, but at least we have a track record of this. And we're constantly monitoring these types of activities, ensuring that we can build different ones that can deliver results and iterate quickly enough so we can quickly learn and move to the next. We're ready to implement and to integrate to your current tech stack if you're looking help there. We have proven results. We've been doing this for a while. We've helped scale many organizations and companies, and we continue to do so. And we're here to help any problems that you're facing. We would love to get on a call and discuss that with you. And we really believe in ongoing optimization, right? This is not a set it and forget it moment. This is really, set it, review it, look at the data, see what's really working, craft through both the signal side as well as the personalization and the messaging side to get it just right. And then once you have that, then how do you kind of scale up to whatever the signal channel allows for you, or find other signals that are similar to what is actually working? So we're going to get ready for questions, but before we do so, I wanted to give you all the resources that you see here, right? So what I'm going to be giving you today is a ton of blog posts that go much more deeper into everything that we talked about, really unveiling the secrets here from all of the posts we have. But I just ask for one thing. This is to help the community as a whole. If you can take a few seconds and complete the type form that we have, this will really help us to get better at presenting this information. I know we go through a lot of content, but it does help us get better over time and really improve be able to provide value back to the community. And I would highly encourage you to schedule a call with me. I would love to always connect and chat with people. It doesn't mean that you need to buy anything. This is really just a general for us to connect and have a conversation and see how we can help and provide suggestions. If you want to be a guest on our podcast, feel free to schedule a call as well, and we can see if that's a fit for you. If you're a VC that needs help and support with your portfolio companies or your private equity with the same, know we're here to help on the organic growth side, using tools such as this, or even on the paid media side. But we've helped numerous VC. We have several VC partners, and we really enjoy that part of it. If you're an early stage startup, feel free to reach out. You could be pre-seed. That's not a problem at all. If you haven't raised, we can talk about customer discovery. I enjoy having those conversations of how do you actually prove a product to market fit. If you've raised and you're thinking about hiring your director of growth of marketing, or you want to build out your first growth engine, we're here to support you in any which way we can and see how we can help you. If you're a later stage, or you're already an organization that has a marketing department and you're looking to train or augment and try some of these new advanced strategies, we love to talk to you as well, and we can definitely help as well. Okay. So now that you have had a chance to complete this information, I want to kind of open it up to Q&A. So feel free to start adding the questions there. While you are doing that, for those of you who need to drop off, feel free to connect with me on LinkedIn. You can easily scan and connect here, or we'll provide the link as well into the conversation to do that. While you guys are putting the questions, let me grab some water so I could start answering. Told you I'll keep it within an hour. Looks like we got it done in 51 minutes. All right, so let me stop sharing so I can see the questions and we can start addressing them. All right, so let's find the questions. How to make sure it doesn't sound creepy, right? So the way you go about doing that is really the intent signals and looking at what has been done and how do you how do you answer, and depending on what the intent is, right? So if they've actually done something, so meaning that I'll give you one specific example, right? They commented on someone's LinkedIn post and you saw that. So you can say, hey, I saw you commented on Joe's post about this topic. I really liked what you wrote there. I wanted to kind of see if we can potentially help you with this particular problem, right? Here's an example of another company that we've done this with. Does this resonate with you? And that could be a nice little transition. Obviously, these messaging is what can be transitioned through, and we can go that. And how about another one, right? So let's say you're running a Google Ads campaign and they land on your landing page, but they don't complete your lead form, right? But they did land on your landing page. So they landed on your landing page, they didn't complete, they left. But you have RB2B installed or you have Sales Intel installed. Well, but you've identified them, right? You know their LinkedIn post, you know who they are. So you could just follow them on LinkedIn. If your landing page did a great job, they would be surprised and know, wow, that's so crazy. This guy just followed me on LinkedIn and so on and so forth, right? You could connect with them. Once the connection occurs, you don't need to do anything. The connection has already occurred, and you're in the process of building the relationship. Remember, sales doesn't happen on day one and day second. And then once they've connected with you, then you can use the Growth Machine and send out an email. Say, hey, thanks for connecting with me on LinkedIn. Now you begin the conversation in that sense, right? So now you can say, hey, this is kind of what we do. We have a bunch of free resources. Just wanted you to be aware of it. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out. So you put the ball back on their court, and you now have, they're interested. They were on your page, but you didn't make it sound overly creepy. So those are two different examples. All right, cool. What's the optimal list size for signal-based outreach? Great question. It could be as little as one to as many as thousands. It really doesn't matter. It's not about the size. Okay, so keep that in mind. It's really about the signals and you constantly listening into those signals. So is this a common pain point that it's occurring within your industry? And the identification of these signals, I share just a few. There's more, and there's more coming up as these tools are coming into are coming in, right? With Apify, you're able to build actors, so you're able to crawl and look at websites. And with Visual Ping, which is another tool, you can literally, if like you're an e-commerce player, right? You can start looking at reviews as your competitors, or new products as they're being listed, or if you could pay attention to Reddit forums and chats and so on and so forth, right? So like all of these different tools as they start emerging, and they're emerging pretty quickly, allows you to build different signals that are a continuous stream. So it's not about 1 or 500. It's really about what is the signal and you continuously listening into it, and what is the messaging that you're crafting that feels super personalized, that shows that you are relevant and paying attention to exact pain point of your industry as they are vocalizing these pain points in the open market. Okay. Are there alternatives to clay that would recommend? I tried, it seems a little time consuming making a long list. Clay is honestly best in class. Feel free, whoever, I know this is an anonymous question that was written. Feel free to whoever wrote this question to schedule a call with me, and I can give you tips and tricks on how to fully utilize it. You can build your own, I guess, through Airtable, but why do you want to go through the process of building this when Clay is already there and they're continuously coming up with new signal detection, continually coming up with API integrations? So just think about the buy versus build mentality of what are your efforts worth, and what are you trying to do, and what are the results, what you're trying to generate here. So far we haven't found alternatives. It doesn't mean that there will be others, but so far we've seen that Clay does an incredible job, and they've been great at constantly building these things. Next question, what to do if my target customers are not digitally very active? Oh, incredible question, right? So what you can start doing is start partnering and getting what's called second tier data from your industry. Okay. So what I mean by this is start thinking strategically of who are your natural partners within the organization, and how can you provide some data that you have to them, and how can they provide data back to you. And within that data, there might be signals as well. So let me give you an example per se, right? So if you are, let's say, a logistics company, and you built a TMS software, trucking management software, and you want to target different. Uh, so you're more of you're more of a SaaS, right? And you want to target logistic companies that have carriers and who are going to be growing. What you could do is you could start partnering with insurance companies that might know who the carriers are, who have this data, and then from there you can collect the information. And then, but from there, you can start seeing who just recently renewed their insurance policy, who has more or less had a recent accident, so they might be a good fit for it, and so on and so forth. Another example in that same industry is fuel costs are really, really important, right? So as fuel costs go up or fuel costs go down, it makes a drastic impact on margins. So you could start paying attention to what's happening to fuel costs. If they're going up, the messaging could be different. So they're going to be much more time sensitive. Another could be that they're actively looking for hiring and job postings, again, within that same industry, right? So people are going to be posting online. They're going to be posting on job boards. They're going to be posting on different channels. So you can pay attention to that. But if they're not digitally active, their industry might be. So then, in addition to that, you can start looking for podcasts that some of the industry leaders are speaking at, and you can be sharing that information to them, right? Or you can be listening to white papers and summarizing that for them and sharing that for them. And they'll find significant value in that because they might be digitally savvy themselves, but the industry as a whole at this point is. So you can gather the information and be sharing to them. Great question, by the way. All right, that brings us to time. Thank you, everyone that joined us today. Really enjoyed spending the time. Again, feel free to reach out and connect, and I hope you have a wonderful day. Bye-bye.